Was that loud? Sorry. trying to make everything jive here a little bit. I think right now it's my mic. It needs to be. All right, so you can hear me now, though. Now you can hear these claps.
No. Check. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you in my through the computer, but not through my headset. I'm gonna X out of Audacity and. There we go. Hello? Hello? There we go. It's just losing it. Okay. 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 Right. Testing my garage band, testing my garage band.
I'm assuming you're good.
Well, I tried it again today and it didn't work. I mean, it just doesn't work. I don't know what to do with it. The thing is, though, it was a gift. And Shan already tossed the box and stuff. I was going to write to him and just like open a support ticket with him or something.
I think I have some.
I'm just using this hat, this microphone.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
I would put that because that's what the talk film
We've got two things. Do what you do. I'm not willing to take that next step.
Man, listen,
yours is so natural. Like, you probably started way early. Like, I'm gonna say like 25. And you were like, listen, social media things aren't that prevalent when you were 25. You probably jumped on board while nobody was really paying attention. So there weren't a lot of photos of you floating around at 25. Why would I ever want to text? It's such a, like, I'll just talk to him on the phone. Jack Daniels down.
Waiting on the wang at some kind of wiener.
I feel uncomfortable with the pop screen in front of the wang. I feel I start calling that the cock block.
Well, I feel like I like this mic. I do. But I feel like this is one of those examples where I overthought. It's not working. I probably should have just stuck with. I like this because it doesn't pick up everything like the snowball does.
The dynamic mic.
But I'm still getting used to it. I hope it sounds good. And now that the focus rate doesn't work, it's even. I couldn't take advantage of this outdoor portion. Guido, what did you end up buying the Rogue Procaster? Is it dynamic?
I bought it. I got the only reason I bought it, ended up buying it, was because I got $300 from my mom for Christmas, and so I didn't feel guilty spending that.
I like this mic.
That mic doesn't sound bad. The only thing, and it definitely gives you a little more low end. I cleaned it up a little last week. We'll see how it sounds with the, now that the pop filter's back on. I might bring a little more take a little compression up there.
I just wonder if I'd be better suited with just like your old mic, for example, something like that. But now your old mic wasn't a dynamic mic, was it?
No, so really ready with the condenser mic. It can work as a cardioid, so you can make it so something like this, but it still picks up everything.
Okay. This really, like, if I don't use pretty good microphone technique, like if I get, like it's good for like Scoot not screaming at me about the air conditioning boiling behind me. But if I go,
Out of this
well, I just noticed them huffing into the mic last week.
well, again, in a defense, like condenser mic like all right, so live showtime. All right, you guys good with what we're gonna do? What we doing?
Yeah.
Just the full screen. Let me just check my shots here. There's Johnson on that camera. That's a zoom in on Johnson. Oh, that's a zoom in on me. Let's fix those real quick. So, do this here. If you're watching on Twitch, all two of you that are right now, which is one's probably Johnson.
One of them is me, yes. What are you doing here?
I'm scaling it to fit onto the screen here. I got over here. Hey, look, I can make myself a little thinner.
Scoot, do you think I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Do you think it looks like I'm talking into a wang?
Not with the pop screen in front of it.
Pop screen helps the wangness of it.
Yes. Yeah.
If you add Ness to a word, so you're telling me if I go up top like this.
I don't want to say what it looks like.
Family show, Scoot.
I know.
Not really a family show.
I'm not even sure my family likes this show. They do. They do like this show.
That's funny.
But it's true.
I still like Solheim's baggy pants thing
Oh my God,
from
that was
last show.
hilarious.
That was
too
funny.
funny.
That made me laugh.
He seems to be having some car trouble.
Yeah, I saw that on the
I
Facebooks.
saw that as well. Having that car trouble.
Who's Larry Dallas?
Good question.
Who is Larry Dallas?
Who is Larry Dallas?
I mean, it's an 80s sitcom. We know that.
I don't want to look it up though.
I don't either.
Hey, chat. Quick question. Who's Larry Dallas?
Hey, what person watching in the chat?
Nuclear pigeons.
Radio voice. Okay.
I feel like I can hear Scoot's laundry
It's
washing
dehumidifier.
machine.
Wow, I don't hear that. You hear that?
Yeah. Wom, 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 wom. Sounds like he's got a load of darks on.
It's not true. Fake news.
That's what it sounds like.
Plumber's fired up. Big game tonight. For my Cleveland Browns and whatnot. Let's go, Browns! Woo!
I think the Browns are in trouble tonight as well.
I do too. That's what I think.
I saw.
And whatnot.
I think the Browns have a chance of getting no points. Scoot, you frozen?
Scoot done froze up.
Nope, now he's moving.
No, I'm not frozen.
Well, he's like delayed.
He's delayed. Hand move. I heard the I saw the mouth move, or I heard the words, and then the mouth moved. Are you on the G? Are you on the 2.5 or the 5? He's all frozen.
Now he's frozen.
Yeah, now he's definitely frozen. And while we're waiting, folks, we'll let you have some lovely music back on the Twitch. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in.
I appreciate the idea, but it's kind of
Johnson.
yeah. All right. Claps. You ready to clap?
Yes.
In 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, Scoots felt like it was like a good minute later.
I was a good minute before you. So it probably sounds good then.
Let's hope.
It's all
All right.
synced up.
Joke's on you.
Joke's on you, man. Okay, here we go.
Look at Guido's got his Steelers sweatshirt on because the Patriots suck.
Guido's lighting looks the best. You're second. I'm third. I look gray.
A little greenish. Yeah, a little greenish gray.
Guido's what
Coming to you live from the Frog, it's Johnson.
Frog Allen Field Room or something.
The Frog Allen, the Frog Allen studio.
Oh my god.
Well, what camera are
Johnson's
you
in
using?
the
Oh, this is
frog.
my EOS right now, my 70D.
Okay.
I gotta. Here's the problem. You want to know the situation? I've got
Do,
a real
do I want to know the
tight
situation?
seating arrangement here. I either break my knees because my knees come to directly at the countertop height since I'm sitting on a bar stool. So it's like
Here's the interesting thing: you live there, and it's your basement. And each week after we get done, you have like a whole week before the next time we record to make it to your liking.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
it's a comfortable seat.
I mean, I'm not saying.
I mean,
it's a comfortable seat.
It
fellas.
sounds subpar to what you need for your studio, but
All right.
I'm glad you're getting a load of darks done while we're.
Hey, it's the dehumidifier.
How much humidity do you got, Scoot? It's January. It's January in New Martinsville. There's like 1% humidity. Got to get it out of the air.
Oh, but it gets a new cowbell every week. It's like every week there's a different cowbell, I think.
Who even has a cowbell?
I have one.
It's got cows.
I'm pretty sure I got it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, don't you own like half a cow or something, Scoot?
I do. I got half a cow in the freezer.
Not a live one. He doesn't.
All right, let's start. Let's start this. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Got Your Ears on Guido, along with Scoot.
Yo!
And Johnson.
Not as much to unpack this week, Guido.
Definitely not as much to unpack. We still have
Just a weekend trip.
It's no.
Yes.
Yeah, right. It's a little one. It's easy.
Day trip.
We still have things to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, but not as much as our marathon show that we had last week. Thank you to all the people who actually made it through the whole show. Probably all 4 of you that did. I mean, it was long. It was a long episode.
And Brent.
And Brent. Thanks for Brent for being on for half of it. So.
Or I thought you were thanking him for dragging it out and making it a long show. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean for joining us and trying
thanks
to.
Thanks to Brent or thanks for Brent?
Yeah.
Thanks to Brent for the long show.
Okay, I see your point. I did not mean it that way.
So, guys, we really need to stop beating around the bush and just talk about what we have to talk about here. Texas loss in Morgantown at the Coliseum.
Yeah, that was a gut punch.
It was a gut punch.
I mean, there are losses, and then there are these losses.
So I don't even know where to start. I mean, I kind of want to start at the end, and I want to start with, that rebound and Emmett not dribbling it out and Emmett not, or passing it out or whatever. But I'm going to preface all of that by saying, which I think is how everybody felt. Like, why did you try to go back up with it? Why didn't you try to run the clock out more? It was a rebound, shot clock reset. I will say that, the good thing is Huggins immediately after the game, and then Cody Nesper wrote an article for WV Sports Now, and he wrote a great article talking about how all of his teammates have come out either on Twitter or the social medias or even in post-game interviews coming to his defense. About how great, not only how great he played in that game, if Emmett hadn't had a great game, they probably wouldn't have been in the game to begin with. But how that is a hard situation to begin with. What was your take on it, Scooty?
Well, I'm not as worried about the play at the end. I know they say one play doesn't make the game, and certainly doesn't help the outcome in this situation, but. Our biggest issue for me was the lack of interior defense when it came to Texas being able to drive the ball. I forget, it was probably within 5 minutes till the end of the game. And for what I feel like they were showing a replay, and then when they were done showing the replay, they cut back and Matt Coleman had driven to the basket untouched. And kind of, it was almost one of those things where I couldn't tell if it was part of another replay or if it was actually live footage. I didn't know what was going on, but I was like, wait a minute. Nobody even stopped him. Nobody even slowed him down. They had too many of those types of drives that are a cause of concern for me. Now, maybe it's because the focus has been, hey, we've got to really clamp down on the perimeter, and so we're taking that away, but that's left some holes, some seams to attack the basket. And then at the end, when you see that last play, all five guys were in the paint, and that's what left Andrew Jones wide open. All five players crashed down on the drive, where there probably needed to be some better communication. Hey, I'm going to be in the paint, or I'll watch for the drive, but we've got to see where the shooters are too. And Andrew Jones, a McDonald's All-American, who on the third I know they talked up the third anniversary of him having leukemia, and good for him in that he's healthy, safe, and was able to battle back from all of that. But the guy is a good player. He's averaging probably 13 points a game, and he can hit some threes. So we need to watch him. He does look like Chris Rock.
He does look a little like Chris Rock. And I'll say this though, and Johnson will agree with me. Like the moment they got the ball back with whatever it was, 8 seconds left, I think, or something like that. The moment they got the ball back, I said, I turned to the person I was watching with, and I said, "It's over. This is done. Like Texas is going to come down. They're gonna take the lead."
And I think to me too, I agree with what Scoot was saying. So I think I had made a note here in the show notes that I think at the first time out, it was like the first 11 points for Texas, it was like Lob City earlier. So not only the straight line drives to the basket that you're talking about, Scoot, but also just the ease with which they were able to work it inside and get baskets. And it wasn't really Jericho Sims, who I think, their big man, he only finished, I think, with 2 points. I just think it was really anyone else that they could run into the paint. They were having a lot of success. So that was bad. That was bad really the entire game, I thought. And then Guido, to switch gears to what you're talking about with Emmett Matthews, I think in the moment, what really stood out to me was not so much pulling it back out and trying to run more clock after you've gotten that second rebound, because, oh, by the way, Emmett had already gotten one rebound to keep that shot clock moving. But I think what got me was just compounding it with missing the 1-and-1. I think people don't get on his case as much, even though I think, if you're Emmett Matthews, you've programmed yourself your whole basketball life to be that aggressive. He gets the rebound. It's not hard for me to understand he's going to go right back up with it. He's kind of programmed to do that. So I'm not going to kill him for that, even though, I was texting with a few people after the game, and everyone was like, well, you kind of have to know the situation, and I agree, but at the same time, you're kind of programmed to be aggressive, go right back up. To me, what compounded it was then you step to the line, you miss those 2 foul shots. And so, Guido, to your point, I think when that foul shot clanked off the rim and they got that rebound, that's when I was like, well, here we go. Like my inner WVU fan just kicked in, and I was like, oh boy, I've seen this before.
Totally. And I mean, and what's, again, to add to the frustration of it is Emmett's a good free throw shooter. I mean, he's shooting like 87% this year.
No, you're exactly right. And that was on the heels of, Texas finished on a 7-0 run. That was maddening just to begin with. But Emmett's miss was on the heels of Derek stepping to the line and him missing the front end of a 1-and-1. So it wasn't like we didn't have our opportunities to close this out. I think that's what made it so frustrating.
Well, is it me? Well, I was going to say, is it me, or does Texas seem to recruit 2 types of players? Either the Kevin Durant shaped person, maybe not so much always the skill of Kevin Durant, but you've got that tall, lanky,
skinny
6'9" guy. They had Kevin Durant, Miles Turner, Jackson Hayes, now this Jericho Sims. It's like this carbon copy of the size guy. And then the other type of player they recruit is TJ Ford. If you remember TJ Ford, like this scrawny, shrimpy little guard. Like they've got you're either a point guard sized guy, like a 6'1", 6 foot guy, maybe even smaller, or you're this 6'9" guy, and there's nothing in between. There's never like I'm trying to think of the last time Texas had a Thickums. They typically don't have too many Thickums.
I can't think of one offhand, to be honest.
Maybe Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba was kind of thicker, but he was still more like the Kevin Durant style sized guy. So it's very odd to me. Also very odd to me is Shaka Smart. I think he's probably doing the worst thing I've seen done
with his haircut
in college basketball. This hairdo.
Yeah, this
what
hairdo,
in the
yeah.
world is going on? Like, I understand why he shaved it for so many years.
I think he's living.
Because
He's
it
kind of
looks
living
ridiculous.
wild and free.
It's like his COVID hair. Is what it is.
Yeah, he's just letting the
It's
locks go.
they talked up. What I also don't like, and I'm preaching to the choir here. Tim Welsh as an analyst.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
From his like den.
yeah.
I
from
think
his
that
laundry room.
compound. I'm
I
just
don't-
bringing that up because I think it compounds. Like, if you don't like the guy to
Listen.
begin with, well, then put him 600 miles away in his own house, and then.
And I don't
see how-
know what Hugs did to him, but it feels like Hugs must have beat him badly every time they played, because he didn't say too many things awfully complimentary of WVU. And
What?
I hate to remind him, WVU is ranked. It's not like we're some sort of like bottom feeder. You know, we're 14th in the country. And he's like, wow, I can't believe they're just doing this. They're letting this happen. I can't believe they're letting Texas just do whatever they want. Like, okay, well, you could say some nice things about us.
Well, and here's the thing that like boggles my mind about our ESPN games this season so far, which is whenever we've been on ESPN so far this season, it's been one of two things. It's been either them talking completely about the other team and not talking about WVU at all. So it's been, you know, you've got the injured Gonzaga
That was
player
this last
hopping
week.
in the, you know, you've got Cade Cunningham, the next NBA superstar. You've got whatever, you know, and like I get Andrew Jones went through a lot, but I mean, you got the whole game was all they talked about.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
it's the other two games. It's been, oh, West Virginia's lost their big man. Oscar's gone. Oh, what are they going to do? You know, there's no. I feel like there's been little talk about how good West Virginia is and how good of a coach Huggins is and how good this team can be.
I also feel we are on some sort of weird double secret probation from Fran Fraschilla. Why can't we have him call a game?
Well, I think a little bit after we might be on some double secret probation after last week's Oscar stuff. But
Was it tampering?
Yeah, the tampering stuff. We might be. We'll come back to that later.
Well, how much do you think too? Hugs brought up in the post game, Guido, that Kedrian Johnson hadn't practiced much this week because he had been battling the flu. Which I think they went into detail to say non-COVID.
Yeah, he said it was non-COVID. That Kedrian came to practices, but there were like one or two practices where he just like literally sat up in the stands or whatever and just watched. Like
it just seems like, you know, you didn't see that same energy on defense, that same hustle. So I think there's something to that too. That was, you know, when you're already a bit shorthanded now with Isaiah being out with the Achilles and everything, and Oscar leaving, and now you're more all hands on deck. That was bad to not have him and have everyone at full strength. I guess that's why I bring it up.
Well, I think that they're fighting a lot of, you know, health issues, you know, the past couple of weeks with, you know, Isaiah being out, and then you got whatever happened to Kedrian this week, and then you've got Sean McNeil and this toe thing that's been going on for a couple of weeks with him, even though he had a pretty decent game with 14 points.
I don't want to hear toe thing, because toe thing to me sounds like excuse as to why he doesn't play good defense. And I think the toe has nothing to do with his defense. He's a great shooter.
And I thought in this game he actually played a bit better defense than what we've seen. I thought it was a lot better. I thought Texas spreads the floor more and they're way more active. So to me, I know, because I agree with you, Scoot, but I think in this particular game, I was actually happy with his defense.
Now, my big takeaway wasn't the loss, because you're going to play good teams, you're going to lose games. But
here's the thing, Scoot, and I get that, but like, and just to dive into it a little bit, we got to start winning these games. Like
we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You keep saying
that. Listen. When does it matter? Does it matter now in January?
No, but it matters to where it matters starting now. Like, if you want my honest opinion, it matters for the next 6 weeks. Like, you have to play good the next 6 weeks if you want to have a good place to be in the tournament in March Madness. You
Well,
know,
and say what was you were going to say your takeaway, Scoot.
Well, my big takeaway from this game was one, how dominant Derek Culver is. Jericho Sims is not a slouch. He scored 2 points and fouled out. I mean, that I think he had some ridiculous alley oop dunk. I think was probably his 2 points. But Derek Culver, think about it. If you could think back to the game, how many times did he grab a rebound with one arm? Probably three or
Yes.
four.
right?
To the point where I'm nervous that that's becoming a bad habit. I don't want him to do that every time because there's going to be games where he needs to use both hands and go up with both hands. But he's grabbing rebounds one hand most of the time. Like there were so many times where he went into the paint and the guy, I don't know, we'll call him scrawny. What was his guy? Number 30. The white
Number
guy. I don't know what his name is. What was
Cunningham,
his name?
Brock
Cunningham. He was 4 rows deep along the baseline on a drive by Derek Culver. I was laughing out loud, saying to my wife, look at that guy trying to play defense on Derek Culver. He's behind the basket now because he's been bullied that far off the paint.
Yeah,
Like
and a lot
Derek
of those
Culver is a beast.
he is, and a lot of those one-arm rebounds is because someone from Texas was trying to hang on his other shoulder so he wouldn't go and go get the ball.
Right.
So I think he just outmuscles, to your point, everybody on the court.
He is as dominant a big man as we've seen at WVU, and I think and we've had some good ones. Devin Williams was decent. Kevin Jones was a good big man. But when I think of a guy that I know is going to score 15 points and probably have 15 rebounds, especially now that Oscar's not here, it's going to be Derek. I don't see him not having a double-double the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I think speaking of scoring, I thought Tess Sherman had another great game. I think he led all scorers with 17, Guido. And for as hot as we were in the first half, that might be the other thing to just talk about really quickly is I think for the second half, we only shot 29, like just a smidge over 29%, I think. And that just seemed to kill us down the stretch. I think if you combine that with just the foul shooting late, I think overall we actually shot from the free throw line okay, but I think the foul shooting late, it just against a team like Texas, it was just like a recipe for, you could see it coming.
And what about my boy Jordan McCabe? Maybe some of the best minutes he's played all season. Five little minutes there, nice three ball. He looked comfortable, didn't look like he was forcing too much.
Well,
It was a good little spurt by Jordan.
I wonder how much that has to do with the fact that with Kedrian probably sitting out practices this week, he probably got some more practice time this week too.
He probably did, and but Scoot, don't you feel like when you watch him now, he seems to be playing with a bit more confidence? I don't know why all of a sudden he would, but now I don't feel as
he's
unsure
also
when he gets on the court. Yeah, it doesn't feel as forced. That's a good word. Yeah,
I don't know if I want to give any scouting points out here, but he's also the master of when he has the ball pointing to a spot on the floor in an effort to get like the defender to think that that's where he's going to have a screen and then either go some other direction or whatever. But you watch him when he has the ball, he'll point to a spot on the floor almost every time now. And like, I don't know, like I would say 3 out of every 10 times somebody goes and sets a screen in that spot. I think he's just doing it to see if the defender will shift over and give him a space to dribble. But
no, I noticed that too.
He probably has played a little bit better too, because I don't think he's a dummy. I think he sees some writing and he probably is saying to himself, okay, I've got to buckle down and focus. I've got to really figure out what Coach Huggins wants me to do so that I can try to tread water and not lose too many minutes to Kedrian, who played a really great game 2 games ago.
Yeah.
So sometimes that is in the back of your mind, like, okay, enough of the wow factor. I just got to do my job.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I think someone who I thought kind of struggled again this game was Jalen Bridges. I thought late in the game, I don't think he fouled out, did he? But I think he picked up 4 fouls. I think he was saddled with that 4th early in the second half. Yep. And I think this was another game where, for as strong out of the gate, if you think about that Oklahoma road trip, for as strong out of the gate as I thought Jalen was, I thought these At least in this Texas game, it seemed like he struggled a little bit on defense. I think he only finished with 2 points, so it'd be nice to see him get back in the groove again and against Baylor.
Well, and I got a feeling that Huggins said in the post game something along the lines of, "We have a couple of guys who decided to take today off," or something around that. And I don't think it was just Jalen, but I have a feeling there was a couple of guys. I think JB was one. I think Gabe might have been one. The guys that just looked slow, looked out of it.
You saw Seni Enjai in the game way more than we had in the previous couple of games. So you might be onto something there with possibly Gabe.
Well, and I thought he called Seni out though, specifically in the post game. I think he made the comment Guido Seni wasn't ready.
Yeah. And I think I think he felt like at least the gist that listening to him talk about it, that he felt like he was forcing Seni out there, and Seni's not ready to be out there, especially against a team like Texas.
Which, in coach talk, might be more of a slap at Gabe for, look at what you're making me do. I'm forcing to play guys that aren't ready because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I bet there's something to that too. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that and the other thing that I feel like, again, and Huggins called it out, but not so much that he would have gotten in trouble with the Big 12, but Huggins called it out at the end of the game about how these officials are calling post play, and how it's a lack of consistency on how they're going to call the post play underneath with fouls. And there were a couple of times where, I mean, Derek Culver, and I get it, he's the biggest guy on the court. He's not, I mean, he's tall, he's huge, and he could throw that weight around. And there's a couple of times where, I swear he'd go for a rebound and get fouled 4 times getting the rebound,
Yeah, and I hate it. Just, to me, what I hate too is it's kind of like, they never reward that effort. So, there's Derek just getting beat up under the basket, and the way he plays, he kind of invites that on. And I think the officials sort of get lulled to sleep of like, oh, that's just the way this game goes. Not, oh, I'm going to reward this guy for, he just got, body blocked or something. He had good position. I'm going to give him the benefit of that. He doesn't seem to get a whole lot of that.
Well, and then there were a couple of times where back on the other end, Matthews got called for one against Jericho Sims, where I just think their jerseys brushed against each other. So, I mean, I think that's the problem, that the consistency of calling that post play, those rebounding, bodies up against each other, I think is frustrating Huggins. But WVU drops a tough one. It was a tough loss, 72-70 against Texas, the Longhorns in Morgantown. We travel Tuesday night, so if you're listening to this the day it came out, that's tomorrow. But we're traveling on Tuesday night to Baylor to play the Bears, which are currently ranked first or second in most polls. Good team. Here's sort of my takeaway on the Bears. So Baylor just spanked TCU after our game. I don't know if you guys caught any of that game, but I mean, first of all, TCU didn't look good at all. I don't even think they scored 50 points. And Baylor looked like they were the Harlem Globetrotters around them at some points. Jared Butler. So they're a guard-heavy team, Scoot. They are a small team. I think their center is, I can't even say his name. It's the guy from Cameroon. I'll give either of you $1 if you could say his name. Tashama, I don't know. Anyways, he's like 6'7". He's only averaging like 8 rebounds a game. But they're a small team. Sorry, man.
I'm not going to I just saw the print of it. Yeah, I'm not going to touch them.
Jonathan. His first name's Jonathan. I'll tell you that. I don't know how to say that hyphenated last name. I mean, I don't even know how they fit it on the jersey, to be honest with you. But he's only 6'7". He's averaging like 8 rebounds a game. Other than that, they're a shooting team. So you got Jared Butler, you got Maceo Teague. You got these guys that are averaging 16, 17, 18 points a game. So I think for us, for WVU, the key is going to be rebounding on both sides, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, and I continue to think it's still going to be. I know this sounds tired, Scoot, but I still feel like Texas to me is still an example of where we don't really put two halves together. I thought at the half against Texas when we were up, Taz and McNeil were both shooting the ball really well. I think we were 6 of 12 from 3 overall. We were shooting really strong. By the end of the game, I think that shooting percentage had dipped to like 38% overall because we had shot so poorly in the second half. And I think that's what opens up the window for teams that do shoot well, because I think Baylor is going to look a lot like Texas. Texas, even though they did have Jericho Sims and like Guido's talking about, Baylor's big here, I don't think either of these teams have like a dominant big. Like when we went into Kansas and we knew they had a big that was going to play, all the minutes and see all the action in that game, I don't feel like Baylor's a team like that. So to me, shooting from the perimeter once again, we're gonna need Taz, we're gonna need McNeil, but we're gonna need guys to ball well. So it'd be great if we could see everybody put two complete halves together.
Yeah, and I know he had 12 points, but it felt like an off. I mean, he didn't play poorly, but it felt like kind of like an off game for Deuce McBride. I feel like his 12 points came at weird spots. They weren't connected to some of the other guys. Um, I think there was one time where he had kind of his what we've become really accustomed to, his prototypical, I don't know, what is that, a 12-foot jump shot that he like elbow looking jump
Right.
shot.
Yeah, right.
And I think he airballed it, or he hit it long off the rim. So it's kind of an unusual. I mean, he's so money on those shots typically. It kind of caught me off guard. Um, I think if we can get Taz, McNeil, Culver, and McBride all scoring, all working together, that that says we're in the game. Um, I think Culver should have a day. I mean, if they've got a 6'7" guy and we can't pronounce his last name, that tells me that we should pound the ball inside
Right.
because they won't be able to stop him. But we'll
Well, I
have
can
to. I mean,
see can't you see more of the, I thought in this Texas game they were pretty liberal about shoving someone down on the block to help. To me, I thought Derek, he's continuing to see more of these. He'll spin, and where maybe he would have had a free pivot, now he's pivoting into a double team and he's having to make a pass. Or I think we can expect more of that in this Baylor game where he's going to be seeing more and more people. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to see the shooting continue to be at a high level like it was in that first half against Texas, because I think that helps open it up for Derek down low.
so I think if we can get 15 from a Emmett Matthews or a Jalen Bridges, that could be the deciding factor. Those two guys, I think, as far as consistency, I think the other guys have been fairly consistent. I mean, they are giving us kind of what we expect. But with Emmett Matthews and Jalen Bridges, I don't know one night to the next. Jalen Bridges 19 points. Last game 2 points.
Right.
Emmett Matthews.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's a 15 to 17 guy. Sometimes he's like an 8.
Well, and I think
Well, and
the thing you got to remember is this Baylor team, man, they shoot lights out. I mean, they're like third or fourth in the nation right now in shooting percentage,
Yeah.
50% a game. I mean, they don't miss shots. So,
And Scott Drew comes across like a whiner. That's just my perception of him. Maybe I'm wrong. But does he not look like he whines a lot?
Like anybody, Scoot? I don't think you like anybody.
I don't know that I like the Drew brothers or his dad, Homer.
So, Baylor game.
Can we-
Go ahead.
Can we go back to just one thing though, Guido? Because you started to say it earlier. We gotta start beating these teams. Scoot says, "Look, we're gonna be fine." Can we just revisit that for 1 second? Because to me, why I honestly post game, after I had some time to digest it, why I was so frustrated, I think, after that Texas loss. Not only is it an opportunity against a really good number 4 ranked Texas team, but you're at home.
Right.
Like I keep finding myself like, we know us, right? We know us. We love us. We know us. We're bad on the road.
Right.
And look, I get it. It's hard to win in this conference. This conference is a beast. It's hard to win on the road. I get it. I'm not naive to that. I'm just saying though, if that's going to be the case, and you in particular are not very good on the road anyway, it seems like you got to like nail these home games down. So even though that's a super tough Texas team, why I was so frustrated post game is because you then realize, man, that's a home game. We could have held serve here at home. Then if we got to go to Baylor, because you go to Baylor now, you're 2-3 in conference. Now you're staring down this game at Baylor, 2-4. To
Starts to feel
me, your
that, yeah.
conference record starts to feel, I'm afraid then you start pressing a little bit because it's like, oh man, we got to get this going. So to me, that's the gut punch of this Texas game is just not being able to even up that conference record and get a home win.
Yeah, especially in a game like that Texas game where it was just, you just gave one away that you had. You had it, and you gave it away.
Yeah, felt like it.
Yeah, so. Well, guys, sticking with basketball, something interesting to talk about here. Our former Mountaineer, Oscar Schwebe, has committed to going to a new school, and kind of surprised, Scoot was calling out that he thought it was going to be an Adidas school, but ends up being where? Kentucky, just across the border, going to go play for Coach Cal. I think something's weird there. It's interesting. Coach Cal and Coach Huggins are close friends. It's just kind of interesting that this is where Oscar decides to go.
Yeah, and I have to assume here, Scoot, that they talked. I mean, it seems inconceivable
that Coach Cal wouldn't call him, right?
Yeah, or vice versa. I mean, it just seems like that conversation had to have happened. It just seems inconceivable to me that wouldn't have happened.
So Huggins said this week, so there was an interview on Friday with Tony Caridi, and Huggins said in that interview, Tony said, well, why did Oscar leave? And Coach Huggins said, outside influences. And Tony pressed him a little bit on it. It was actually really interesting to watch. Tony, and, I like Tony Caridi when he does stuff like this because he did. He pressed him on it, and he said, well, what? Like what? And Huggins kind of played the safe card. So I don't know. Maybe it's people, money, whatever it might be. And it was really interesting, now knowing where he's ending up and to hear what Huggins said and to know Huggins' relationship with Coach Cal, it's just so interesting.
I'm curious as to whether or not this causes some ill feelings toward him. Maybe it doesn't, but if let me think back, like it never happened, but when I coached soccer, if my best player were to go to another school where I know the coach and there's somewhat of we're not rivals per se with Kentucky, but it's not like he went to Duquesne or Robert Morris or some other Division I school. He went to a blue blood, like big time program,
right?
And one that's not only in our backyard, but it stings a little bit for me. And it'd have to be a weird feeling between Huggins and Cal, unless there was so much built up, animosity between Bob Huggins and the staff and Oscar. Maybe it's just one of those, hey, good riddance, good luck, see you later.
Well, don't you think it's interesting though that I don't know anything. Admittedly, I don't really know. I don't follow Kentucky. I don't know anything other about them this season, other than they've had some non-Kentucky like struggles. I think their record, I know at one point they were like 1-6. I think they've kind of righted the ship here lately. But don't you think it's interesting that I almost feel like Oscar gets there, and if Kentucky is still having the caliber of players that we've come to know about Kentucky, the way he's been playing lately, does he start on that team? Is he seventh man or something? I mean, I just can't imagine if he's going there thinking this is my new home, I immediately start, I'm the man here too. Part of me is like, maybe not so fast, right? I mean, he wasn't exactly hitting on all. I mean, yeah, you end with us on a good game against Northeastern, which is like playing, the sixth graders at, Richwood High or, whatever, Richwood Middle or something. But I'm just saying, like, to me, you walk over there to that caliber of school, he's going to have to play a lot better, I would think, to get the same amount of minutes and exposure and playing time.
Yeah, and here's an interesting one, and this is a question that actually comes from every West Virginia fan's favorite Twitter account to us. Voice of West Virginia just sent us a message and wanted us to think about this. Bob Huggins has had 3 players drafted into the NBA draft since the 13 seasons he's been coaching at WVU. John Calipari has had 38 players in the 10 seasons he's been at Kentucky. So if Oscar wants to go to the NBA professionally, is this why he made this decision? Is Kentucky the better place for him to be if NBA is the ultimate goal for him?
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like certainly a business business decision, and you certainly can't blame him for that. But I just think it still stings to me that in the middle of a season, you'd look at the rest of the players that you've been bleeding and sweating and working, daily with for what, couple
Well,
seasons
and
now,
this
and
is
go, hey
this is
guys,
where
I'm out. Hope
yeah.
good luck.
And Scoot, this is where I'm going to get like super conspiracy theory est here is like, so Huggins says what he says, outside influences, money, maybe something. Does somebody tell him, hey, listen, Oscar, you leave the program, you go play 1 year at Kentucky, and because he left at a time that he'll get eligibility for next season. You play your 1 year at Kentucky. We've got your back. We'll make sure Coach Cal gets you playing time, and then you'll get drafted in the NBA, and then we'll be your agent, your sponsor, your whatever.
I mean, that's very, very possible. What's funny to me is Kentucky's having I mean, they've won 3 games in a row here. Their last 3 games, they had a win against Florida, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State, I believe. But they're 4-6, which is unlike, they were 1-6 going into that 3-game stretch there.
Right.
That's a horrific. I think it was the first time since like 1920 or something that had happened for a Kentucky team. The funny thing to me is Fran Fraschilla, who's good friends probably with both Huggins and Calipari, tweeted out that Kentucky with this transfer gets older, which in my mind, I mean, he's a sophomore. I wouldn't think that in my brain. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A sophomore transferring makes you that much older, but I think Kentucky has some ridiculous number of freshmen. It's they might start all freshmen, to be honest with you. I don't know, but it's such the turnover at Kentucky is so rapid that it's amazing what Calipari has done, because he's got a different 5 every year. Right. You never have, I mean, to see a senior at Kentucky, that's super rare.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, at this rate, Oscar might be a senior at Kentucky because he's not NBA material right now.
Well, I just think, to me, I was just thinking at the current level of play, and maybe he fits right in and it clicks, and great for him. I mean, I also don't wish anything ill on him. I was just thinking, when this all started to go down, and now that we know it's Kentucky, I have a hard time thinking at his current level of play, he just hops right on the court and everything looks great and he gels and he.
So do you think something was afoot this past summer when Oscar wasn't working out or doing whatever? Do you think maybe he had some people talking in his ear about, you could always transfer? And I mean, and then as the season started out and he wasn't really doing much, he thought, you know what? Let's do it. Let's pull the plug and let's go.
Well, it sure seems like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, and Brent kind of alluded to this last week a little bit, is that I feel like tampering is so easy now with these kids in the NCAA. Like, compared to what it was, in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, like, for somebody somewhere to get their hands on him and say, hey, listen, here's the decisions you need to make money down the road, is so much easier than it was, 20, 30 years ago. So,
but don't you think too, I think what Scoot's maybe getting at, I don't know, Scoot, but what I hear you saying is, like, I almost feel like Oscar had a bit of an attitude like, look, the rest of you guys kind of really need to work for this. I don't really need to work for this. And my fallback plan is still to maybe transfer to a place that helps me even more. And so if I don't feel like working on it in the off season, maybe I don't. And now I just go ahead and enact that plan where I transfer.
I think you might be right. But what's maybe more disheartening for me, and maybe you guys as well, is, and it's all perception, right? Because I don't know the guy. So obviously I don't know him. I'm sure Herd Hater is like just heartsick over the whole thing, because he and Oscar had kind of what seemed to be a strange Twitter friendship. But anyway, I feel like, hang on, lost my thought.
Well, this could take forever.
Trying to find it. I just feel like with Oscar, he was a good guy. I feel like that was the vibe. Everyone kind of seemed like he had a good heart. Seemed like the stories
Last
that we were
season.
hearing from when he was a child, where his dad would go hunting and he'd have to
Right.
go collect the arrows, and sometimes he would beat the arrow to the target, or just like crazy, like mythological stories about the fable of Oscar.
Right.
Like I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Yeah, and that's why I hate don't you hate to now like vilify the guy, because it seems like up to this point he had made a lot of connections with people around Morgantown and at the university,
Yeah, he
and
seemed to
people thought
smile all
well
the
of him.
time. I
Yeah,
mean,
right. So I hate to now suddenly boo hiss the guy, but it just seems like the weird. So that's why I have to think that it was maybe not only him but just other people in his, camp constantly in
does
his ear trying to direct him around.
does this dissuade WVU from recruiting McDonald's All Americans in the future?
No,
No,
I
I
don't
don't.
think I don't think it changes anything with the way Huggins recruits. I mean, I just think that
Does it feel like this is why we can't have nice things?
it does.
Well,
It
no,
does
that
feel
may
like
be
this is
the
why
case.
we can't have nice. I just feel like again, it's a situation where I think that Huggins is a good recruiter, and the reason we don't get McDonald's All Americans is I'd love to know what the percentage is, but I feel like a lot of those McDonald's All Americans are always one and done guys, and I feel like I think I don't think Oscar expected to be a one and done guy because he's only been playing basketball since 2016. And he's only been playing basketball like 4 years. So I think for him, he wanted to come and learn something, but I think you realize that West Virginia is not that catapult to the NBA like some of the other teams are. And I think that's where, a team like Kentucky is much more appealing to somebody like him. And I'm sure somebody got in his ear and said that. So.
Well, I think it'll be interesting now, though. I feel like I will now really pay attention to what's going on over there. Now, I don't think that makes Oscar immediately eligible. I think he's eligible next year, if I read the information correctly. So, but it'll be interesting to see how, how that turns out, if he does now put work into it, and how he gels with that team.
Practicing against him is going to help Kentucky. I mean, just to have to work around a guy that size in practice, you don't see that too often. When you've got your starters going against the other guys, you don't have some McDonald's All-American who can't play, who's 6'9" and 250.
Yeah, and one other thing too that I think might be interesting. I mean, how many times have we run into Kentucky in the tournament? I mean,
right.
It would be interesting. It would be an interesting turn of events, not this year, but maybe next year. You wind up in the tournament and you face him. That would be another interesting thing.
Yeah.
If it's a possibility, the selection committee will pair us.
Yeah. Maybe. So that's, we'll follow that. We'll see what happens. But, Oscar now committed to going to Kentucky. A couple of other things, just little house cleaning things we need to talk about. One is Charlie Benton, former, I think, 3 or 4-star recruit, been with the program for 2 years, the football program. Charlie Benton, a linebacker, has entered the transfer portal. He only had 14 snaps that last year. So it's kind of interesting to lose a linebacker who probably would have gotten some playing time next year in the program, but Scoot's like, whatever. But I think more importantly is to recognize that our friend Darius Stills has been named a consensus All-American.
Yeah.
So Steve Slayton out there congratulating him on Twitter. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Steve was also a consensus All-American, if you don't remember that. So congratulations to Darius. Signed with his agent last week and moving towards getting prepped for Combine and the NFL Draft, which will be interesting because apparently the Combine is changing this year. They're going to do it differently than they've done in the past.
Via Zoom?
Via Zoom, I guess. I don't know. So
I think I could do 22 reps of what is it, 225
no, you
via Zoom.
Via Zoom.
Via Zoom.
Via Zoom. The weights
With,
are
like,
off the screen and you're just like
yeah.
at the bar.
Green screen, just
Listen.
green screen, just boom, boom, just knocking them out.
If it's via Zoom, I'm going to the Combine this year.
Yeah, right?
Or
Well,
like
listen,
when
guys,
you do your 40, they'll just move the background really fast behind you. Just
Johnson and I'll be back there like pulling a rope.
right, yeah.
She was like pretending
Yeah.
to run. We're
he
pulling
ran a
rope.
3-2. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, listen, guys, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Season 2 of Bluff the Fluff. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Ears On.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
That was lengthy.
I saw the.
Somebody else
I
is
don't
drinking.
I see. I don't see too. Good. I'm good with time.
And if I pay it to...
Oh, really?
You ready for this, Scoot?
Yeah. Larry Dallas. Who is he?
I still don't know who Larry Dallas.
Yeah,
is.
who's Larry
Oh, yeah.
Dallas?
Who is Larry Dallas? We haven't figured that out.
I don't know. I can't place Larry
I have not
Dallas.
looked
It's
it up.
something. It's something from the trove of Scoot's '80s knowledge.
He's holding a Pirates. He's holding a Pirates cup. I feel like is it Pittsburgh Pirates something? I don't.
No.
Oh, okay.
Come on, knock on my door.
So okay, for Three's Company.
Oh, was Larry Dallas the dark-haired guy? What was his name?
Yeah, Larry Dallas.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that
neighbor.
was like the actor's name or something.
No, Richard Klein is the actor.
Oh my God. How do you know that? No one knows that.
He knows
Richard
that.
Klein.
This is why we can't have a Three's Company trivia because you wouldn't even have a chance.
Because Larry Dallas would go with him to the Regal Beagle.
That's right. That's where they used to hang out all the time with Larry, was at the Regal Beagle.
All right.
mean,
Not to be confused with
There's no Larry Apple.
eBay, the short order cook. And
Well,
at
don't
the
give-
Regal
Don't
Beagle?
give all your names because you got to have another one for next week.
Yeah.
I've already got it figured out for next week.
You can't get him to get You can't get him to put any notes in box, but he's already got the next 6 weeks of names figured out for the Zoom.
Hey, priorities.
Priorities. All right, let's do this segment. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears On, Guido, along with Scoot and Johnson. And don't forget, you can find us on the social medias. Look for us on Instagram, on Twitter, at Got Your Ears. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Got Your Ears On. We post things, we repost things, we make comments, we do lots of fun stuff on there. So find it, look us up, you know? Guys, it's time for Season 2 of Bluff the Fluffs. Are you excited?
Reigning BTF champion. I get to call myself that this season because
Johnson was
Fact.
last year's champion. Trophy is in the mail. Might take a few months to get there because apparently that's how the Postal Service works. But sorry for all you postal workers. So this year, guys, Season 2, I thought we'd maybe change it up a little bit
okay.
and make you guys have to work a little bit harder for earning those points. So what we're going to What we're going to do this season is no more coin flips, no more figuring out who gets to go first or go second. Whoever wins the previous week gets to go first the next week. Simple as can be. All right.
Okay. All right.
But this year, instead of us alternating the questions, all right, what we're going to do is you're going to bet how many points you can get if you get the question right. So, for instance, if the question is, where does WVU play their basketball games? The Coliseum, the whatever. You bet I can do that. I can answer that question for 30 points, for no more than up to 50 points. So 0 to 50 points.
Okay.
If you get the question right, you get the points. If you get the question wrong, whoever steals it gets double the points. All right?
Ooh.
So that's where it's got to change. You got to think about how many points you offer, because if you're not sure,
Are you comfortable with this math?
it's gonna be tough, man. I got a yellow pad here.
I'll be
a
double
calculator.
checking him. Thank
I
you.
got a calculator. We're gonna keep it to round numbers, guys. Don't give me like 27 points.
A
It's gotta
lot of
be
math involved.
increments of 5. So
Well,
all right.
how? So there's no ringing in or anything. It's just.
Well, so Final Bluff is still worth 25 points. They're still buzzing in on Final Bluff. So Final Bluff is always going to be worth that 25 points.
I worry that with this random point thing, the 25 points could be all for nothing.
Well, do you want to up it? You want to make it 50 points?
I'm just saying that if I get 6 questions and I have 50 points a question and I'm at 300 points and you say this one's for 25 points and Johnson is working at 100 points by Final Bluff, that's got no weight.
Well, that would be bad for Johnson. That'd be he'd
Okay.
have to do better
All
job.
right.
All right. So the only thing is, by the way, I didn't mention this. You have to give your points. You have to give how many points before you hear the question, obviously. So you can't wait till you hear the question. And before you hear the question, you have to say how many points you think you can do it at.
Oh my God! Like we don't even know the topic.
Is this too confused? Well, I'll give you the topic. All right, and then do you guys want it to be like it's Johnson? You say I can answer it in 20 points, and then Scoot says, well, I can answer it for 25 points. What do you think about that?
Well, that's why I was asking about ringing in, because I didn't know if you were going to go based on.
I kind
well,
of like that.
Biggest bet, like the biggest bet gets the question.
Yeah,
or
I kind of like that. So you get the first bet on this first question, Johnson. But Scoot can say he thinks he can answer it for more points or to let you go. I like that. What do you think, Scoot?
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Perfect.
Scoot's frozen.
Timing. Scooter unfroze
Can you hear
now,
us,
I
Scoot?
think. Maybe.
Yeah, hang on.
Regulating.
Can we? I got a work problem here. Hang on for 2 seconds.
Yeah, we can take a pause. Take a
Hang
pause.
1 and 2 and 3 and
All right.
4 and
You guys,
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. Why don't we do the bids from 0 to 25? Maybe. And then that way, it's still in line, maybe. Or we make it less than, I think maybe you come down on the wagers, not the, yeah. That's a good idea. they hear us talking? Because I can hear me. Yeah, through that. Maybe that's just my internal speakers. I have me coming through the microphone, my monitor coming through the microphone. But when I unmute Twitch, then I hear myself when I'm talking. I don't know if I hear you say something. Yeah, I didn't hear you. So maybe it's just me. No, I didn't hear anything. Users in the chat, but only one person watching the stream. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I can hear us here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, hopefully Larry Dallas makes it back here soon. Yeah, that's good. Probably went a little long. We have those mapped to keys on the keyboard. an old man sitting down right here. It's an old man. It's disgusting. I don't know if you want to say no one can hear it. There might be some.
Right, working on it. Not actual kids either.
These
My
kids,
work-related
they're not,
kids are actually adults. Yes. What is our? Let's nail down this point total thing.
Well, when you walked away, I said, why don't we reduce the bet amount, so that to your point, so
Start another segment. Start it again. Just fresh. All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears on. Guido along with Scoot and Johnson. Hey, don't forget, you can find us on the social medias. Look for us on Instagram, on Twitter, at Got Your Ears. We haven't been banned. We're still there. Or you can find us on Facebook at Got Your Look for Got Your Ears on there. We're also there, too, haven't gotten banned. So definitely check it out. Look for us on the social medias. Guys, it's time for Season 2 of Bluff the Fluffs. Are you excited, Johnson?
I am. As the reigning BTF champion, I am excited, Scoot.
Puke.
Well, listen, this year we're going to change it up. We're going to do a couple of things different. First of all, and first and foremost, so there's no more fighting or anything, no more flipping of the coin. Whoever wins last week gets to go first the next week. So that's how it's going to work.
All right.
All right.
I like that.
I thought you were going to make this kind of like one of those Japanese game shows where maybe Johnson, because he was last year's champion, has to play like shirtless doing jumping jacks.
Like Wipeout. Like I have to.
We are broadcasting on Twitch now every Sunday night. So we could do that. I mean, the fans might like to see that, Scoot.
I mean, for everyone's safety and myself and safety of retinas everywhere, I'm not going to ever do that.
But here's how the points are going to work this year. So a little different. Final Bluff is now going to be worth 50 points, big time points. But
okay,
when you get to go first every week, instead of getting the first question, you get to place a bet from 0 to 20, how many points you can get if you get the question right. So for instance, if I say, where does West Virginia play football? And I rattle off a couple stadiums, you get the question right, you get the points you bet. But if you don't, let me try that again. So for example, you're going to bet before you hear the question that you can get that question right in 10 points. And then, Scoot, you can say, no, I can get it right for 15 points. And Johnson can say, okay, go ahead, Scoot, go for it. And then you get the question. So that's how it's going to work. You put your bets in for how many points you get. So because Johnson won the championship for last season, he gets to go first this week. He'll get the first question. I will let you guys know what the topic is, so you will know the topic. And the topic is the 2021 WVU men's basketball team so far. So that's the topic.
Okay.
It's going to be questions about our current team and and up to this point in the season. All right.
Okay.
So Johnson, first question goes to you. How many points do you think you can get?
I'm going to throw out 15 points.
Oh, Scoot.
That's a mistake.
What do you think, Scoot? You want him to go for it?
Yeah, go for it because he's going to get that wrong.
All right. So and by the way, the other thing we didn't mention now that he's thrown out 15 points, if he gets the question wrong, Scoot, you get to steal it, and you get double the points. So you would then get 30 points.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm
here
ready
you go.
for it.
Feels
Johnson.
bad. Feels bad right now.
Johnson, first question is to you for 15 points. Who is the shortest player on the WVU basketball team right now? Is it Jordan McCabe, Spencer Mackey, Miles McBride, or Sean McNeil?
Ooh. So right off the bat, I was thinking Jordan. I'm trying to picture Spencer Mackey. I'm going to go Spencer Mackey.
That's correct. For 15 points to start it off, Spencer
That was
Mackey.
tricky.
He's 5'11".
That's pretty tricky.
Spencer Mackey's 5'11". Jordan McCabe's listed at 6 feet. Miles is 6'2", and Sean is 6'3". So
Okay.
Johnson gets 15 points for the question you bet on. Scoot, the next bet goes to you. How many points can you get?
20.
Scoot's going to go straight for the 20. Johnson, you don't even get to try to steal that one back. 20 points, Scoot. This next question is to you. Who currently leads the team in three-point percentage with a 5-shot minimum? So you take out Gabe Osaboyan, who's 1 for 2, and you take out Kedrian Johnson, who's 2 for 4. They're both shooting 50% from 3. But with a 5-shot minimum, who is leading with three-point percentages right now? Is it Sean McNeil, Miles McBride, Taz Sherman, or Jalen Bridges? For 20 points.
Ooh, that's tough. Oh, that is tough. Oh. I want to say one answer, but it could be another one because it's a sneaky answer. I am going to say Taz Sherman.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Johnson, you get a chance to steal for 40 points right now. Is it Sean McNeil, Miles McBride, or Jalen Bridges?
Well, I think volume works against the other names here, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jalen Bridges.
Nobody gets any points. The correct answer is Miles McBride, shooting 43% beyond the arc. Taz Sherman is second with 37%. Jalen is third at 35%, and Sean is shooting 34%. So there you go, guys. Nobody gets any points right there. And Johnson, the next bet is back to you. What do you think?
15 worked for me. I'm going to stick with 15 points.
Scoot, what do you think? You going to let him go for it, or you going to want 20?
I'll do 20.
All right, Scoot tries to steal it on you for 20 here. Scooty, who currently leads the team in free throw percentage? Minimum of 5 free throws, so we take out Jordan McCabe, who's currently 4 for 4 at 100%. Is it Derek Culver, Emmett Matthews, Taz Sherman, or Sean McNeil? For 20 points.
If we were on Sesame Street, one of these things doesn't belong here. One of these things isn't the same. That would be Derek Culver is not the same. Does not belong there.
No. Okay.
I am going to say Taz Sherman.
That's correct. For 20 points, Taz Sherman is currently shooting 89% from the free throw line.
Wow.
Emmett Matthews is shooting 83. Sean McNeil is shooting 88%. Derek Culver's shooting 55. So good call there, Scoot. Good call on that one.
Process of elimination.
Scoot gets 20 points right there and takes the lead over Johnson. And Scoot, this next bet is actually back to you. So Scooty, what do you want to bet on this one?
I'll go with 20 points.
All right, 20 points. Scooty is he's brave on this. All right, Scoot, for 20 points, who currently leads the team with total points? Total points. Is it Taz Sherman, Sean McNeil, Miles McBride, or Derek Culver?
It is Derek Culver.
All right, Johnson for 40 points and the steal.
Wow, I'm surprised that that was not correct. Um,
Taz Sherman,
man, this
Sean McNeil, Miles McBride.
yeah, this is tough. Ooh, um, I want to say so. I'm debating Taz and Deuce. I think I'm gonna go with Deuce.
That's correct for 40 points. It is Miles McBride. Deuce has 196 points right now. Derek Culver has 179. Taz is at 161 and Sean's at 131. So Johnson, you now take the lead 55-20 over Scoot. Scoot takes those big bets. It comes back to bite.
Scoot's rolling big. Yeah, Scoot's rolling big every
This is
time.
why-
I'm not scared.
This is why you don't go to the casino with Scooty. That's why you don't go to the
I'm
casino.
not scared.
You'd be out of the
Listen,
casino in an hour.
you guys don't go to the casino with me because I'm in the high rollers section.
Oh, okay. Play
All right,
the nickel and
Johnson.
dime machines.
This next one's back to you. Do you want to make a bet?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go low this time. I'm gonna go 10. I feel like we're now getting into the meatier questions. I'm gonna go 10 points.
All right, 10. Scoot, you gonna let him go? for
20.
10? Scoot
20.
goes 20 again. Scoot's gonna lose by 100 points. All right, Scooty. Let's see if you can answer this question. How many rebounds per game is Derek Culver currently averaging? Is it 9.8, 10.8, 12.1, or 8.3?
It is 10.8.
That's correct. Correct answer. 10.8 rebounds a game right now, currently averaging a double-double. And Scooty goes to 40 points. All right, Scoot, you're still down 15 points, but don't forget Final Bluff is worth 50 points this season. So big change right there. Johnson. Oh, no, Scoot, this next bet is back to you. What would you like to bet?
I'm going to go 20.
All right.
20 points.
20 again. So this could either make him or break him. Here we go, Scoot. Which of these players has had the most field goal attempts? The most times they've shot the ball, most times they've attempted to get a field goal. Is it Jordan McCabe, Jalen Bridges, Isaiah Cottrell, or Gabe Osaboyan?
Oh,
Those off the bench guys. Well, I know that Jalen
Tricky, Scoot, tricky territory.
so you said Jordan McCabe. Who was the second guy you mentioned?
Jordan McCabe, Jalen Bridges, Isaiah Cottrell, or Gabe Osaboyan. Who has had, of those guys, who has had the most field goal attempts this season?
Oy. Ooh. I'm going to go Jalen Bridges.
That is correct. Jalen Bridges has had the most field goal attempts of those.
Had he not had that big game, he would not.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think you're right. I think that Jordan McCabe is a close second to him, but yes. So right now, Johnson, you are down by 5 going into Final Bluff. Scooty put it all on the line and came back to take the lead 60-55. But none of that matters because Final Bluff is worth 50 points. So you still have a chance to blow him out of the water. As we always have done, Final Bluff you have to buzz in for. There's no bets. There's no nothing. You just buzz in. And every week we ask you guys what your buzzers are. Scoot, what's your buzzer this week?
Bonsai!
Scoot's been watching a little bit of the Netflix this week, Cobra Kai, so can feel that coming out in that buzzer. Johnson, what do you got for a buzzer this week?
Osaboyan.
Osaboyan, which is kind of like the West Virginia version of bonsai, I guess, in some ways.
It
So,
could be.
It could
Yeah.
be. Kind of sounds like it. All right.
Like if we were tandem sky base jumping off the New River Gorge Bridge with Coach Hugs and
Strapped to Coach
Tavon
Hugs.
Austin and Baby Bjorn. Isn't that what it was?
You would scream Osaboyan on the way down.
Yeah, I could,
Osaboyan!
yes. Before I threw my shoe and everything.
I like it. All right, here we go. Final Bluff, 50 points. Which of these does West Virginia University currently lead in the NCAA? Which of these stats? Do they lead in rebounds per game, total rebounds for the season, defensive rebounds for the game, or offensive rebounds for game?
Banzai!
Scooty.
That would be offensive rebounds per game.
That's incorrect. Johnson for 50 points and the first win of the year. Is it rebounds per game, defensive rebounds per game, or total rebounds for the season?
This is like three shades of the same color, Guido. I don't know which to pick here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go defensive rebounds per game.
Man, Scoot, back to you to finish it off. Is it? You got two options, so you have to.
I thought
get
I
this
won.
right.
I thought I just won. All right, I'll finish it off. It's rebounds, total rebounds.
That's correct. Total rebounds for the season, 537 total rebounds this season, leads the NCAA. And Scooty wins season 1, episode 1 of Bluff the Fluffs. Taking an early lead, Scoot.
That's right. The script's not going to work this time, Guido. I didn't read it, and I threw it in my fireplace.
Johnson, are you worried? Are you worried at this point?
I am not. No, I'm still. It's a long BTF year, and I think there's plenty of time.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of time too.
We just got to hone in on this new format.
Yeah, we got to
all.
work. We got to maybe clean it up a little bit. We'll see what we do. All right. Well, listen. Let's take a break. We're going to come back with a segment that we haven't done in a month because we're afraid of what it might be. It's a little segment we like to call "I Can't Believe My Ears." So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Ears On.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
He's just gonna push all his chips to the center.
I'll always outbid. And Johnson,
I mean,
questions.
It doesn't like. There's no. I think the cliffhanger we were looking for. All in. Get back to you. All in. Dude, what's the highest number? I'm on. 15, 22,000.
Betting involved, like you have to. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. For off the Twitch, but there is a lot of betting that goes on, and often I am outbidding Seabass, which concerns Seabass because we shouldn't bid against each other as teammates. And I always push the honor.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Don't forget, check out our website and our merch section. You can find that at gotyourearson.com, right, Johnson?
Yeah, that's right. So you can always find the latest blog post for the show, and we try to put all the show notes of stuff we talk about right in there. And you can find all the links to listen to the show there. You can also listen to the latest show in the sidebar on the homepage, or click the link to the merch store, like you said, Guido, and check out all the cool merch, including our pullover guy shirt that we put out there lately.
Yeah, pullover guy shirt. Definitely pick up one if you get a chance in our merch section at gotyourearson.com. $1 every shirt goes to the Norman Ray Huggins Foundation and the Bob Huggins Fish Fry. So definitely check that out. All right, guys, we haven't done this in a month. I'm a little nervous. You know, we've had a lot to talk about, but this month we're going to let Scoot, go out on the internet, find something to talk about. It's a little segment we like to call, I Can't Believe My Ears. Scoot, what do you got for us this week?
Okay, a couple things, fellas. One, this just a passing note. This year's No Pants Subway ride has been canceled,
Oh, good to
so
know.
you will
Good
not
to
be
know.
able to participate in the No
Okay.
Pants Subway ride due to
Shoot.
COVID,
Yeah.
I'll have to
which
take that
apparently
off my
happens in
calendar.
some majors. Just keep the pants on, take that off.
Okay.
Take it off the calendar, keep the pants on.
Were they
All right.
concerned that you could pass COVID not wearing pants, or just having that many people on the subway?
I would say maybe yes. I don't know. I mean, as we've all found out that the transmission of COVID seems to change as time changes. I don't know. I feel like the only thing that hasn't happened is I've not received COVID or was worried about receiving COVID while taking a shower. I don't.
Okay.
That's probably the only way that I've not
Yeah.
worried about getting COVID. But the story I really want to talk to you guys about is parenthood.
Okay.
Okay.
It feels heavy.
Yeah. this
We
feels-
are all fathers on the show.
Yes, we
Correct.
are.
Yes.
We all
Correct.
have 2 children, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
Each
that's
of us have
correct.
2
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 little cherubs.
What if I told you, well, let me ask this. Would either of you consider having a third child?
Negative.
No, because then I've got to go from man to man to zone, and I don't want to do that. I mean, it's too much ground to cover.
And let's be honest, with the three of us, the backwards math would not be in our favor right now, because we would all be pushing that late retirement age, trying to get kids out of the house.
What
So-
if I told you that there is a South Korean city that is paying residents to have babies?
Okay.
Would you be in on that action? What if I told you it was $100,000?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Not there.
Would the-
$100,000 not enough.
I think if you do a quick total cost of ownership,
Yeah,
100K
give us
is
a cost analysis here, John.
like
Pull out
that
the
feels like it's
spreadsheet.
not good. That immediacy of the number feels good, but if you step back and apply some reality, I feel like you're shortchanging yourself. But
I mean, if
Scoot,
you
why
have
are
to-
they
Do
doing?
you have to keep the kid? Like, wait, let's balance this out. Like,
yes, you have to keep the child.
oh,
You
wait,
can't
so
just
if you have to
have
keep the
it and
child,
go away.
the 100,000 is definitely not worth it.
So, like, because what you're saying, Guido, is like they're fun to us. So, like, once they get to like 8 or 9, you're just like, okay,
No, I'm just doing the.
now I still want my money, but
Right, I'm strictly doing the cost analysis part of it. I'm thinking that if they say, "Hey, have a kid, then give it to somebody else," that's worth $100,000. But have a kid and raise it and put it through college and all that, whew, no way, man.
I'm intrigued
I'm
to
closer
the rest.
like
of
1.5 for that one. Maybe 1.5 I might be in, but
I don't. Is this due to like underpopulation, Scoot, or what are we?
Okay, so here's the
Did I
situation.
just make up a word too? Like I
I-
don't know that I've ever heard that situation.
Underpopulated? I don't know. Well, here's the situation.
here's the
Changwon, the
I am
capital,
100% sure you're getting that wrong, but
the capital of the South Gyeongsang province
Oh, boy.
is combating the problem of declining
No.
population
no,
with financial
don't
incentives.
do that anymore. No, don't do that anymore.
I pronounced it correctly.
But you were right, Johnson.
Um,
Declining population issues.
Okay, well,
So, here's the deal. If a couple gives birth to one child, the interest on the loan would be waived. If you have 2 children,
Well, wait,
30% of the
Hold
loan.
on. It's a loan. So wait, they're giving
It's a-
you money,
well,
but
listen.
it's a loan.
You start out with 100K.
But it's
You're a
loan.
new couple. Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Guido moved to Changwon, and they are all like given
So-
$100,000.
no, wait, that's a thing regardless.
yes.
That's a thing there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see.
You get 100K.
You get 100K.
Now, if you have one child, the interest is forgiven. 2 children, 30% of the loan principal would be forgiven. If you have 3 children, the entire loan is forgiven or becomes a grant.
That's, well,
Are you
first
in?
Of all, no, I'm out. I'm out like 7 different ways. I'm out on that. First of all, I'm not going to take on a loan to get a kid. Second of all, if I have one kid, they just give. I still have to pay back the loan. I still have to pay back the $100,000. I just don't have the interest now, and then I have to have 3 kids in order to get rid of the loan.
3
Ah,
kids,
I'm out.
and the Changwonian officials are concerned that the population could fall under 1 million people, which is ridiculous because raise your hand if you knew Changwon was a place before
Right.
tonight.
Right.
And they have over 1 million people.
I'm still stuck on, I'm trying to get my head around just getting married gifts you this loan of 100,000. And I can't decide if I like that or if I feel saddled with I guess that is to promote success and getting your feet under you and getting
Right.
started. I get that. So that seems like a very cool thing, but then this whole interest play. And then to me, it's sort of like, oh, we don't like you, Stevie. You were just kid number 3, so we could get off this loan. Like it feels like awkward
Right.
city.
We had
down
you.
the
We
line.
had you, so we didn't have to pay the loan back.
We refer to you like the old 30%er or something.
What if
like,
would you, let's say you're hurting for cash. Okay, we're in the middle of a
Yeah.
pandemic.
right?
You've already got your 2 children that you've got, right?
Okay.
Would you and the missus be willing to, set up shop in Changwon for a little bit, have a couple children, and then roll out?
Yeah, that's not for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I don't think so. I think
I don't think
I feel
so.
like Scoot. I feel like you're in on this. I feel like you're ready to get dubs and pack the bags and move to Changwon.
Here's the thing though, like how many marriages do you think got off the ground because 2 people looked at each other and they were like, how do you feel about 100K? I don't know. How do you feel about 100K? Sounds pretty good. Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good too. So like,
What if you had triplets? Bam.
oh wow.
That's the
you
quick way
just-
to do it,
yeah,
right?
You just like LeBron
You're
dunked
done.
on this whole process.
Get it
Yeah,
done
you
at
just
once. Right.
Like if you had triplets, like I would like to do that. I think if I were, let's say I were 22 years old,
Okay.
I would maybe look at some I don't know, tricks of the trade or fertility or some kind of like crazy things to do.
well, or if
have
like
triplets?
twins, like if twins ran in your family or something like that, you'd be
Yes. Now, what if you let's say you have your 2 children, would you be willing to try to disguise like a niece or a nephew or something as your child in order to be forgiven for the loan?
Ooh, this might not be a bad idea.
How does
Right?
that get
Yeah.
audited though?
I mean,
How
that's what
does
I
that
don't
get
know.
Blood
audited?
test involved? Is there?
I mean,
Like, let's say, would you be willing? Well, unfortunately, I think both of you guys are only children, correct?
that's
I-
So it would
a
have
true
to be
statement.
your wife's relatives.
Right.
So let's say I'll use me because I've got a bajillion siblings. So let's say I have my 2 daughters, which I do have. Would I be willing to snatch up a niece or a nephew for a short period of time, maybe during the accounting phase of the cash flow, loan repayment?
I think, and then the question
I
becomes which
mean-
niece or nephew, Scoot. That's where it gets kind of rough. Is there
Well,
like a
and how long
favorite?
do I have to keep them?
Yeah, right.
This
Do I have
seems
to- I
so
mean, I would- like-
I feel like
complicated.
there's at least a year. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this.
This seems so complicated.
And let's just add to the fact, Scoot. I mean, and I'm going out on a limb here on this one, but I just have this feeling that you don't speak Korean, so I feel like that adds another problem.
What about the couple that doesn't have any children, just wants this loan, and borrows 3 of their relatives' kids
I'm
just
Or-
for the loan?
what about the dude that gets married, has a kid, gets a divorce, gets married, has some kids,
Oh
gets a
man,
divorce,
oh,
gets married, like he's on his like
Oh.
3rd marriage.
see, that's where I think you got to make a deal with a family member. You say, "Listen, I got this
I think-
100K.
I think that's where your swipe a niece or nephew starts
Is-
to come
yeah,
into play.
like- Is $10,000 enough to get me a couple of family photos with my niece? Like, is that enough to like? Do you have to submit photos? Is it like a visa process?
this seems like a recipe for
is-
disastrous drama
Yeah,
in
this
South
seems rough,
Korea.
Scoot.
I don't know if I like this policy or not.
I mean, could you
Well-
imagine if they did this in New Martinsville? Like, what would you do, Scoot? Would you have another kid?
Oh man,
if they said, Scoot, you have another kid, we'll give you.
Well, let me
$100,000.
ask. Okay, not to be morbid, but right. Let's say I'm older. Right.
You are older.
I'm not. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not to that
Let's
point.
say reality.
Let's talk reality here and say that by the time that kid got out
Okay.
of college, you'd be pushing 70.
Okay. So the 100K is probably going to be spent by me before I have to really worry about spending all the rest of the cash on that kid. So
what you're
maybe
saying
it's
is
worth your while.
the first two kids you take care of, this third kid would be out on his own. Good luck.
Right. Correct.
Well,
Correct. But I get my 100K.
But you get your 100K. So, season tickets for everybody. So thanks, Scoot, for going out on the internet and finding something that I'm not sure anybody else read.
I feel like this is questionable policy, Scoot.
This is
Well, it's what's
government.
interesting is it feels so. Of course, we've heard in years past where China had concerns of overpopulation.
Yeah.
where
right.
you were like allowed to have one child,
Yes,
and
if
more
that,
than one
yeah.
was a concern.
Right.
This is like the complete opposite of that.
I'm just saying
Which you don't often hear.
Big Jim should call him because West Virginia's got a declining population.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Guido. I mean, bring people into the WV.
Yeah.
Sponsor
Yes.
some.
Give them a loan.
Some policy like this.
Yeah.
I think the money would go a long way.
We should probably wrap it up for the week. We appreciate everybody listening. Thanks for all the downloads. Don't forget, tell all your friends to listen, like, and subscribe. And find us on the Instagram, on the Twitter, on the Facebook at Got Your Ears. Also, we got 2 games this week. We've got Baylor Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Ugh, 9 p.m. Another 9 p.m. game, guys.
Yeah, what is with this? That's the worst start time.
12
Ugh.
makes me so exhausted. Anyways, 9 p.m. game on Tuesday night. That game's on ESPN2. And then Saturday, we play back in the Coliseum against TCU. And that game is on everybody's favorite, ESPN Plus, where we'll see who does the play-by-play. They may find somebody out of the stands to do it this time.
Yes.
You never know.
True.
Scoot, you might get a phone call. You might be doing some play-by-play for
I'm
ESPN
ready.
Plus.
I could do it from the studio here.
The ESPN Plus games give you 2 things. They give you don't know, you're going to have like either an old baseball announcer or somebody you haven't seen in like 25 years call a game, and you're going to have Amanda Maisie asking at least 3 or 4 questions to Hugs at halftime just to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. So
yeah, and possibly a third Eye of Sauron technology, as I like to call it, where they've placed like a Zoom webcam up in the rafters someplace, and that's your camera angle.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, so that's TCU on Saturday at 2 p.m. in the Coliseum on Big 12 Now, ESPN Plus. All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another show talking about those games and much, much more. We'll see you guys next week. You've been listening to Got Your Ears On. I have no idea how long this show is going to be.
I'm at 136.
I had 150.
150?
Well,
I
Johnson's is more
started-
accurate, but
I started recording like right before we did claps. So
scoot to the
Are we
middle.
still on the Twitch?
Oh, hold on, yeah.
1 and 2 and 3.